All right, welcome everyone to the Deconversion Stories featuring today with Aunt Jer. Oops, Aunt Jer. I keep forgetting those things fucking backwards. Unfortunately, guys, Mikey is not with us today because he was up very, very late, I guess, doing some stuff with his recording on his computer and stuff like that. So he decided to bow out for the evening to rest up for the weekend show. So, but anyways, here we are. Welcome to the show, Aunt Jer. It's about bloody time we got you on here.
Yeah, would you like to explain why we're late?
Yeah, because I'm an idiot, and Aunt Jer kept saying, "I can't hear you. You can hear me. I can't hear you." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm everything." And then I noticed that I had muted my mic as I was when I was blowing my nose earlier, and I didn't want to blow out Aunt Jer's eardrums, possibly. So, and I forgot to unmute my mic, so we were trying to figure out what was going on. So the technical difficulties was all me. So when I'm next time I'm in Seattle, you can just give me a quick slug in the shoulder or something for that one. But anyway, like I said, welcome to the show. And oh, geez, everything's going haywire now. No producer, and I'm losing my shit. You know what we do here? We talk to people about their journeys away from whatever belief systems everyone's a part of. And I generally like to get you to take as far back as you can remember and all the stuff that was going on then and how you found your way out.
Okay, so I did do an interview with Oz on the Tang channel, and we kind of covered like my religious childhood growing up, but we didn't really get to the deconversion part. So I would like to refer people to that video for the pre-story, but I would like to get to the deconversion part today, like the good stuff.
Sure, but can you sort of bullet point the early days and what and kind of like just you were raised as, went to church, didn't go to church, that kind of thing, and then just get into the deconversion part itself?
Yeah, no problem. I grew up Assemblies of God, which is the Pentecostal church, for people who don't know.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
I
did you
went
do the
to.
speaking in tongue thing?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
I went to a private Christian school, like all the way till my second year of high school, and then I switched to a. I was tired of all the people not taking school seriously and like wanting to like go to pep rallies and junk. So I I was basically kind of homeschooled, but not by my parents. It was like a place I went to a building like 1 hour a week, got my assignments, and then during the week I would do them and then turn them in.
Right.
And because of that, and because of I went during the summer, I was able to graduate a year early. And right about that time is when this was about the time where, I don't know, the Toronto blessing was happening and stuff was happening in Florida, like Brownsville.
What the hell's a Toronto blessing?
Oh, it was this big, they called it a revival. And it was basically all of the speaking in tongues and being slain in the spirit, and some people barking and laughing. Like this was
Barking.
like, yeah, this was like spreading like everywhere, and it was happening in our local churches as well. And so I was involved in that and did the speaking in tongues, slain in the spirit. And I would like to say, not everybody is faking it. There is, psychological explanations for everything. So it's not like everybody's sitting there on purpose acting stupid. There is.
They just don't realize they are.
Right. But there's legitimate psychological explanations for all of the phenomena of like being slain in the spirit, just like being overcome with your emotions, and which is kind of part of how I deconverted, was getting that explanation. and it
Okay.
wasn't so much so mysterious and like, oh, I don't know how this is happening and God works in mysterious ways. It was like, here's an explanation. I was like, oh, okay, so there's a reason and it's not a mystery. So I went to Bible college in Ohio, and during that time I was working at this sandwich shop or whatever, and I was coming up on graduating. I started like hating it. I'm like, because people, they were doing like the running around and like people blowing whistles and waving flags and all this stuff, and the running around isn't me, but I felt the peer pressure to do it, and I felt really dumb. And I think a lot of people were feeling the peer pressure. Like you're not holy enough if you don't feel inspired by the Holy Spirit to run around. Like you can't control yourself. You have to run around because God is in you so much. And you were kind of looked down upon if you didn't really participate. So I would reluctantly run around with people and then come back and be like, I hate this. So then I just started acting more like me, like more reserved and, not wild and crazy. And someone actually said to me, like they turned around and saw that I was just, like being calm and whatever, and said to me, wow, you must not love God very much.
Wow.
I was like, because I'm
You
worshiping
don't know that.
differently?
Yeah.
Because I'm not like proving to you that I love God? Like, why do I need to prove that to you? Isn't that between me and God? And so I really started to like distance myself and was talking to my coworkers, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I graduate. I don't know what to do with my life. And this one guy like really encouraged me. He's like, go to the community college, take classes, get your Associate of Arts, maybe you'll find something there that sparks your interest. And so I did that. Oh, I have notes. I skipped a part where when I grew up, the Bible was infallible and holy and
Right.
no mistakes. Well, I happened upon a typo one time.
Yeah.
And we know that
All about your grammar thingy. Yeah.
We know that, printing mistakes happen and whatever because it's printed. But that was like the first kind of chink in my mind, like, so it's not infallible. You can have typos. And I started like pointing this out to people and they're like, okay. And like, no, seriously, do you not get this? So that was the first doubting. And then so when I was in the community college, I started learning about like the Code of Hammurabi, how it's older than the Bible. And I was like, wait a minute. The Bible isn't the first thing ever printed? Hold on. So that blew my mind. And then I started learning about like transcendentalism, like in the 1820s.
Yep.
Emerson and all that. And I didn't become a transcendentalist, but I started identifying more with some of the ideas. Right. And my mind was kind of open to other ways of thinking. And the feeling of seeing an idea that resonated with me and it was like different from how I grew up was kind of starting to happen. And even just like the word resonate kind of became the theme for when I was in college. Just things just started like feeling right. And I started taking like sociology and psychology classes that explained a lot of what was happening and how the mind works and how the mind controls you and things happen. So I got some explanations for things that were just I was told would always be mysterious. Like, we don't know how it works. God just
works in
it's so
mysterious
mysterious.
ways.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, but there's an explanation. There's this scientific stuff, research studies that's been happening, and they have answers. So that makes sense to me. I learned a bit about deism, and I'm starting to like, I didn't become a deist, but I was like, okay, this makes more sense than what I was raised with. I tried out the Wiccan thing for a little bit, and then I just didn't think about it for years. Like, if somebody asked me about religion, I'd be like, So I was basically nothing / unsure. And like, when you would fill out forms and they would ask what your religion is, I would always just pick spiritual but not religious, not because I felt like I was spiritual, but because I didn't know what else to pick.
Well, plus spiritual is just a vague description anyways.
Yeah, like I didn't, like nothing else fit, and I'm like, well, this is just like basically saying I don't know.
Yeah.
So, years later, I went back and tried some churches, like some gay affirming churches. Like, let's see how this is. Like, they're not going to be bigoted and all this stuff. And tried about 3 or 4, and I was just like, no, this doesn't feel like me.
Right. But when you were in the Protestant church or whatever, did you feel like the other churches were getting things wrong? Like, did you have that sort of notion in your head?
Yeah, I was taught that anybody who doesn't believe how we believe, like all the specific doctrine, then they're going to hell.
Right.
And like, I was even told that some of my family members, because they didn't go to the type of church that we went to, they were not saved.
Right.
And I don't know, that always just felt weird to me. But so after I tried the churches and felt like it wasn't for me, didn't think about it for a long time, just kind of ignored it.
Did you have a church to go to, or?
I mean, I could have found one maybe, but I was working and going to school, and I just
I got you.
I had other things to think about. It
Enough
just wasn't
shit on your plate.
it just wasn't an important thing for me to think about or consider.
Gotcha.
And I don't know what it was, but I don't know if I read it or I remembered it, but Hebrews 11 was the final straw. Because when I read it, after not having read anything for a long time, so I was basically coming into it with fresh eyes, I realized what it was saying. I was like, so the Bible is actually saying we're basing our beliefs on make-believe and wishes and hopes.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, or interpret that way. I can't remember exactly what Hebrews 11 says, but
faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Right. I'm like, so faith is hope, which is not a thing. And they're saying that it's the evidence of things unseen is us hoping for them. I'm like, so the Bible is fully admitting faith is hoping things and wishing for things to be. I was like, no. I was like, okay, well, I'm free. I don't need to worry about this anymore. This is all fake. So then I kind of
hold it.
Yes.
That one line caused you to believe that the entire book was fake? Like, that kind of feels like it was an on-off switch situation.
I had already...
Or did you put some stuff to test?
I didn't put anything to a test. I had already really, like, not believed in, but that was what, like, mentally, like, released me to stop worrying about going to hell. Stop, like, if I'm in a bad situation, like, okay, in case I die, I'll just say this, because, you know, just in case, like, all the just in case stuff went away. I'm like, well, no, no. So that was like mentally released me to not be under this oppression anymore. And so I sort of went back to Wiccan stuff and started looking at stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but also learning about kind of the science, like, okay, so
when you say you went back to, what is it? Were you sort of dabbling in it before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mentioned it earlier with the deism.
Oh, sure. Okay, right.
So I was like unsure, and just kind of like a lot of it was resonating with me, like the wheel of the year and how we can celebrate certain points during the year because things are changing, like the equinoxes, equini.
Sure.
Yeah, like
equini. Is that a word?
I don't know. I'm just gonna say all of them, just to land on whatever's right.
Solstices, yeah.
Equinoxes.
Equinoxes.
And so, and like when the light, day and night are equal, and then when the night is longest, and all this stuff. And then I liked like the stories that kind of explained it. Like, I knew there are stories, like I know that, you know, the Oak King and the whatever king, like, aren't actually fighting. It's not a thing, but it's a poetic way of explaining a story that goes along with the cycle of life. And I kind of saw the gods as like superheroes. Like, a lot of people have their favorite. A lot of people have their favorite superhero. Like, people
Thor was an Avenger.
People don't really think that Wolverine is an actual person, but he's a lot of people's favorite superhero, and they'll have iconography of him, statues, you know, tattoos. Yeah, so all this stuff just because he's their favorite and they identify with him for some reason. And that's kind of how I saw the gods, not like that they actually existed, but like pick one that you think is cool if you're interested, and if you identify with one because you like them, not because like you hear them calling you or whatever. Just like, you know what, this one, a lot of their personality traits kind of go with what I like. And then learning, because you know how people will say, well, I did this spell and such worked. And they'll say, so therefore magic works. But we know that there's an actual explanation for why it worked, like a scientific explanation, why they think it worked. That is what I'm actually focusing on. Like, do the ritual without actually thinking the results will be from supernatural sources, but knowing that the results are because of this or that psychologically happening.
You're planting a seed in your head and stuff, right?
Yeah, just like things that can help you improve yourself. And a lot of it is, you know, ways to help you remember, um a lot of symbology. Like everybody does rituals. Like some people read the newspaper in the morning, every morning. Some people,
Yeah, we all have them.
yeah. And
I can't
so,
drive to work without a coffee, so it's my ritual, getting that line up for coffee first thing in the morning.
yeah. So their rituals aren't necessarily like religious or
Right.
supernatural.
Right.
They're just things that we enjoy. They mean something to us. And so that's kind of the perspective that looking at I'm looking at, like magic or paganism, that there's things that you can do that bring meaning to your life, that symbolism. Like, let's say if I want like this rose quartz pink rock, I'm gonna say pink means happiness, and I'm gonna like hold the rock and say something about happiness, so that in my mind I can connect looking at that rock with the thing that I said that reminds me about happiness. And then I can put that rock on the shelf, and every time I look at it, I can remind myself about the thing that I said, and then adjust my behavior accordingly. It's not that that rock itself is causing me to be happy.
No.
It's the ritual around it that is
like it reminds
effective.
You to be happy or something, right?
Yeah.
You look over and you go, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be happy. Come on.
Yeah. And that's the perspective that I come at it from.
Sure.
And just because I like the symbolism in paganism, I like the Celtic, the Celtic pantheon, and the stories. I really like like origin stories. Like,
yeah,
various cultures will have how the world started. I like them as the stories, just because it's interesting and kind of gives you a window into that culture's perspective of life.
The mindset, sure.
And other stories, like how geographical formations happened, like a giant fell down, and now there's this, from an island to the mainland, there's this like land bridge because the giant fell down. Those are just interesting. Not that I believe that there was an actual giant, but I like those stories. They're interesting and they're fun.
Funny you mentioned that, because in Summerland, where my dad and where Godless Mom lives, there's actually a big rock there called Giant's Head. And when you look at it from a specific angle, it looks like the head of a giant as he's lying down there. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and those things are just kind of interesting to get creative and make stories about the things that are around you. And a lot of the Celtic mythology has stories like that. And so I kind of identify with that. And just a lot of the visual art, and it's just interesting to me. So I say I'm a secular pagan, because I don't actually believe supernatural stuff is happening, but I do like the values of a lot of pagan paths. I do identify with nature a lot, and I like how our lives are ruled by the cycles of nature, summer, winter, spring, and then the moon cycles, and how everything, all of nature around us, is part of our lives and kind of guides what we do. Like at the end of summer, we harvest and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting to me.
Sure. Hell yeah. I can get on board with that too, because as you know, I went through the paganism bit as well myself, and Wicca and all that stuff. And I ultimately found out, just like you, that I'm more of a secularist when it comes to that sort of thing. Same with Judaism. I call myself a what do you call it? A secular Jew as well. Like traditional secular Jew. I just thought we celebrate the holidays together with family, and I do some of the ritualistic stuff still with some friends that are into paganism from time to time. I haven't in a couple of years, but it still happens. But it's about getting together with people that you care about, right? And doing this sort of stuff too. Well, for me.
Yeah. So some people in like the atheist community are like look down upon anything that's from religion.
Yeah, any kind of it too, yeah.
But I think there's value in some ideas.
Sure.
But
I agree.
not to let them like dictate how you live your life. Like if it's not for you. Like if I don't want to wear a head covering, I don't need to. Like if I have beliefs,
I don't wear head coverings.
Yeah, related to like let's say if I was a Muslim and the head coverings thing didn't resonate with me. I would have to be ruled by the law or whatever that you have to wear this head covering. And so I think in that way religious traditions are harmful if they don't do anything for you, if they oppress you or keep you from living your best life.
Yeah. The harmful belief stuff or harmful parts of that stuff we can do without.
Yeah, but things that do enrich your life, like the community and rituals and just things that humans need in their lives.
Sure, we do it anyways. Like when we all get together to watch Super Bowl Sunday, or when we go out to watch fireworks, or we go to the pub and sit for a few rounds. That's all ritualistic and in company of others, usually.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yep. So that's kind of where I am right now. And I refuse to use the label atheist just because there's a lot of problematic people in the atheist community that insist that if you don't believe in God, you have to start calling yourself an atheist. Like you have to use that label. And I just don't tell me what to call myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't tell me who I am.
Yeah, I hate that. I'll say, well, I'm an atheist. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, I mean, I don't believe in gods. I don't think they're real. That's my definition. That's all it is. Now you believe this. No, I don't believe in any of that stuff. So,
Yeah, and while I don't believe in gods, I still don't want to use the label atheist just because so many people are like snobs about it.
Bullshit. Yeah.
They're like snobby about it. Like, well, you fit the definition, so you have to use the label. Like, well, I don't want to because you're not going to tell me how to live my life.
Nobody gets to dictate how you describe yourself either.
Exactly.
That's right.
Like, I don't like the label pansexual just because the whole cookware thing and it weirds me out. And so I've come up with the label that I think best describes me as open sexual.
Open sexual. What does that for you mean?
That your gender identity or what's in your pants has nothing to do with whether I'm attracted to you or, want to have sex with you. It's all about your mind, and all that other stuff is just
Isn't that a way of
sort of. I mean, that's part of
it. Yeah.
What I think. But like
whatever turns your crank.
People's bits are just a means to an end. It's not like I look at certain genitalia and I'm like, ooh, that genitalia is great. But if it's attached to a person that I think they are an interesting person, and that's how I can a way of interacting and becoming intimate with that person,
Sure.
then it's interesting. Other than that, genitals are gross.
Genitals are gross. Well, we know what they're also used for, so that's the gross part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, whatever works for you, right? If you're turned on by somebody, regardless of, you know, genitalia, then what can you do? You're attracted to that person for the reason that you figure you're attracted to them for.
Yeah.
What about family stuff? How's that going? Like, are your folks, or do you have any brothers and sisters, that kind of stuff, that are religious? Or
Yeah, the rest of my family is basically Trumpsters and
oh gosh, oh, no,
Christians, and like they think because of all the stuff that's been like COVID and like the war in Ukraine, all of that they think is like we're definitely in the last days.
Well, they had that. There's that meme going around the back end of that car that said that the rapture was supposed to happen on the 25th. That didn't go so well. That was 4
Yeah.
days ago, and I didn't notice piles of clothes on the ground and people floating up in the air. So,
Well, and the thing about that is growing up being taught that Jesus is coming back any day
Mhm.
and you need to be ready. I kind of got the message that my
What does that
life
even
didn't
mean?
have value and there was no point in
Yeah,
planning a whole future, and that basically my life is going to get cut short because Jesus is going to come back. And all the
right.
old people saying, you know, come back soon, Jesus, I'm ready to go. Like, well, they lived their whole life, of
Thinking that.
course, but they've gotten to live their life, a
Yeah,
full life. And of course, they're like ready to go. Like, they've done all the things. But me, I'm just starting. I'm like a teenager or whatever. And you're telling me that you want God to come soon and I'm not going to get to live my life. It just basically kind of told me that my life had no value.
pretty sure I don't want God to come at all. I don't know if I have enough napkins. Yeah, Purple made a good point that for the past 2,000 years he's been certain that he was coming back and it was going to be the last days. The thing is he was supposed to have come back during the time of his apostles or disciples or something like that. So he's already late.
Yeah. He might be pregnant
Maybe
if he's late.
he's knocked up with the next Messiah. That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, the third coming. Wait, okay, that just sounds bad.
Yeah, so my family is like that, and
I'm so sorry.
I pretty much just try to avoid them as much as possible, but
What
we
about
live on,
holidays?
well, I don't really participate in the holidays, but that's for different reasons because of my agoraphobia and not
Right.
wanting to be around people.
Especially ones that piss you off.
Exactly. But I live on the same property as them. Like I have my own space, so I can avoid them most of the time, but still they're there.
Well, they're always going to be there until they're not, basically. But I guess, do you at least maintain some sort of civil, like if mom calls you up, do you have a few minute conversations just to catch up kind of thing? Or
Well, if my mom calls me, I will lose my shit because she's dead.
oh,
Um
well, okay, I had no idea. That would be a neat trick, though.
yeah, like that would be a whole other situation. Um but yeah, I mean, we keep things on the surface level, like talk about, like if we pass, we talk about the weather, or like I just texted my brother earlier, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, they come in handy for some things, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
Does your brother live with you?
Well, like I live in a trailer in the driveway, and my dad
Oh,
and my brother and his wife and 2 sons live in the house.
right.
So I have to go in there to do laundry.
Yeah.
But
You
other
don't have a
than
creek
that,
nearby or
yeah,
a little washboard or something. You can do it out by the creek. The old, like old school.
yeah, no, that's too much work.
Yeah,
I
no
would
doubt.
just I would just throw my clothes away and buy new ones.
Yeah, if only I was made of that kind of money, I'd do that all the time. But I kind of do that all the time. I keep buying T-shirts for some reason. So that's cool. I'll buy that one. $30. What? So
Well, speaking of t-shirts, um, I had told
I should
Mikey,
make some. I know.
no, I have some,
Oh, do you?
and yeah, we've discussed this. Um, I don't
Oh, that's
know.
right.
I don't know
I
if you're
remember.
able to do it, but I had told Mikey, like I did some ads for some of my art and stuff that I put on
Mhm,
TikTok. I don't know if you're
mhm.
able to play those now
The
or
ads
not.
for TikTok. Let me see.
Ads for my art on TikTok,
Let's
on
see.
my TikTok account.
Oh, making me log in. Fuck you. I should be logged in. Why is my computer making me do this now? Continue with Google. Hold on. Getting all kinds of weird noises. Okay. Okay. It's not. Hang on.
Mikey,
Okay. No, I found it. I found it.
found it, everyone.
Okay, so hang on and let's hit the pause. Where's the pause? I gotta hit pause. Come on. Pause. Okay, well I'll do it this way.
I have never looked at TikTok on my computer before. I always
We'll
just use my phone, so I don't even know what it looks like on the computer.
get rid of that for the moment, and then I'll do this.
Of anarchy, I'm equality against tyranny. I'm the spit in their face, I'm a public disgrace. Equality against tyranny, I'm a citizen of anarchy. Break down their system, behold, we won't miss them. They're fascist, effigy, become the anarchy. Citizen of anarchy, I'm a citizen.
There you go. That worked, right?
Yep. Well, on my end it
Awesome.
did.
Yeah. Oh, it'll come through to everyone. There we go. Yeah. So I like the uterus T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah, those all came about because of the Roe v. Wade thing. I was like,
Yep.
I got to do something. So all these ideas popped into my mind, and I'm actually still working on one more, but it's very tedious. I have to fix some things and kind of start over. Uh, and I added a while ago I made like little icons that are various or based on various pride flags, like all the ones that I know about that would work with this design. So I added those to the store as stickers.
Cool.
I didn't. If somebody wants them in something else, let me know. But I didn't really want to do like T-shirts and stuff because the icon is like a circle and it kind of looks like a target, and I don't that.
Hey Jim, watch this.
Yeah, like that's not what I'm going for.
Total cartoon thing, but yeah. It's like there was a Far Side, I think, where it's like one of the deer or something has a target birthmark. He goes, "Geez, Bill, that's a hell of a birthmark you got there."
Yeah, so there's more stuff coming to my store. I mean,
yay!
You can get everything on pretty much anything that they sell. And if somebody wants a design on something in particular and it's not available, I will look to see if they have it that I can put it on. Just let me know.
I just thought something. I hope that song isn't going to get me a copyright strike. I should have muted it. But
no, it's part of the whole. It's necessary.
Oh, okay. But I mean, is it a copyrighted material?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I should be safe.
Wait,
I just got an email. No, I'm kidding. I didn't get an email.
But yeah, the song about anarchy is important because I named my store Antarchy Supply. Using the So brilliant. Supply to kind of be like a military supply store, but this is like supplies for your anarchy. Like you need these T-shirts to help with your anarchy plan.
It's funny. I don't think a lot of people really know what the actual definition of anarchy is. Many people think it's, everything will be pure chaos, which it isn't. It's not about that. It's technically almost kind of in line, but you can have anarchy and communism will work well together because instead of a government head, you've got a bunch of people that are working together as sort of think tank, you might say, for a community or something like that. So anarchy isn't quite what people or what it's been made out to be.
Isn't just like against like a centralized having the power all in one group of people.
Yes, exactly.
Because the people that have the power right now are fucking it up. So go get some of my merch, wear it while you go fuck things up.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Do that. I'm going to check some more of that stuff out because I might grab something for sure. I love T-shirts and I love supporting my friends. So it's always good to do something like that. Like, for example, I've got one of Aaron Ross shirts on right now, the Lucy Jolly Roger. So this is fucking cool. Hello, Lilith.
Yay!
She's another local.
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of chat, but I'll mention it again. Like, I'm not watching chat because it's too distracting for me and I lose my train of thought. But I will go back and watch the replay of the chat.
I'll play anything relevant up for you anyways.
Well, people may have already been saying relevant things.
Yeah. They're pretty much talking amongst themselves.
Oh, okay.
This is the chat of the mods. Yeah, I give everybody wrenches. Pumpkin J. And Lilith wants to know how you are.
I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Well, so let me ask you this. I think it's important. I always ask people this question. If you could go back in time and kick yourself in the ass with some advice, what kind of stuff would you tell yourself?
Well, I know you don't like this, but I would say trust your gut. Those thoughts that pop up in your mind, explore that.
Sure, I
And
don't have an issue with that.
when I was in high school, I also took some college classes at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell
Cool.
myself, take a psychology course, a sociology course, or like an intro to history course. Take a different course and
Critical
learn
thinking.
some of that, and my life might have taken a different route if I had earlier been aware of things like the Code of Hammurabi is older than the Bible. The Bible was
Yeah.
not like,
Lots of stuff is older than the Bible.
yeah,
Fuck, lots of stuff is older than the Old Testament, including the Hammurabi stuff.
yeah, and that's what it blew my mind about that, because I was always assumed the Bible was the first thing ever written. It's like the first history book we have. And if
Well, the first book on an actual printing press was the Gutenberg Bible.
Yeah, but like, no, I mean like first stuff written down, not necessarily printed, but
Right.
documented.
Gotcha.
Like it's the first history document that we have, is what I was taught.
Right.
And if I had learned earlier from a basic like history class, like, no, the Bible was not like the first thing that was ever documented, and furthermore, it's not a history book.
No.
I might have been able to avoid a lot of things.
Well, you know what they say, hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah. But that's what I would tell myself. Trust your gut, follow that line of thought, and take a few different classes. When you have that opportunity to take some college courses while you're in high school, take something different.
Randolph finally showed up and said hi.
Oh, finally.
Mr. Late guy all the time. And Maya says you probably wouldn't have listened to yourself. I don't know. I disagree. I think if I was to go back in time and talk to myself, I'd listen to myself, because like it's like I'd be there and be like, dude, I'm you from the future. Listen to me now.
I might have, because I already felt like an outsider. Like I already felt like I knew, not like I know more than you, but like I was aware of the possibility of more things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so if I had told myself, yeah, follow that, I might have been like, okay, so I'm right.
Well, I would listen to myself if my future self came back to talk to me. I mean, obviously they came back to talk to me for a fucking reason, so I'm going to listen.
Yeah, they spent all that money on that time machine.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. You just reminded me of something, actually. This is probably in the 90s. A buddy of mine and I had this pact, like if they ever invent a way to use like a phone to call back in time, let's mark this day down and put the phone numbers we currently have down, and let's put it in our wallet. And then if we at the time where we can actually call back in time through a telephone, we'll call ourselves back in time and we'll give ourselves the lottery numbers for the upcoming lottery. And of course, I still haven't gotten that phone call, so you know.
Yeah, that would have been a really cool thing. But the lottery numbers, yeah. I don't want to win the lottery. That's, from what I've heard, it's
imagine how many people I can help with that.
Yeah, from what I heard, it's more trouble than it's worth. all the taxes and the ways that you can't just like take the money and go spend it all at once. You know, there's all these loopholes you have to go through, and it just sounds like a lot of problems.
Well, not up here. Winning the lottery up here, I don't think the government takes your money here. So,
Oh,
you win the lottery here, you get to keep it.
oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, a friend of mine went down to Reno. I think this is back in the early 2000s, and she won like 10 grand on a slot machine. They took the money from her there, but she came back into Canada. There's a company here that goes down into the States or calls down to the States to the company that took the money, I guess the government or whatever, and then get it back for you.
Huh.
Yep. So she got her whole 10,000 after that.
Yeah, no, the government takes any prize that you win, the government takes a chunk of it.
Yeah. Where's our third? Yeah, see, Lilith said that too. Yeah, I'm poor. I'll take the lottery. Also, Canada doesn't tax lottery.
Yeah.
Well, got any advice for the folks out there in the chat?
Advice, go buy my shit. If you don't want to buy any of that, I have some coloring books that I sell on Amazon. I have
Cool.
an Amazon wish list.
There you go. Me too.
If you just want to throw money at me, I've got like the Ko-fi, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal.
Actually, I have her link tree in the description box below, so you can check that out. And it's got all that stuff there.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had an OF.
Oh yeah, that. Okay. So I have one paid entry, I guess. I don't know. And then one like free one to kind of tell you what it's about. I really need to get back into doing that. But what I do, it's audio only, and I just read grammar reference books.
That's amazing.
I just sit there and read about, verbs and participles and how to, arrange your sentence. And if that's your thing, I mean, if you want to hear that information, if you're not really necessarily into spicy content, this might be for you.
This is grammatically spicy.
Oh no.
She'll teach you the difference between helping Uncle Jack off a horse or helping your Uncle Jack off a horse.
Yeah, my dad earlier, he does not use punctuation, and he texted me, I'll come out after my coffee and I get dressed. I said, "You're going to dress your coffee?" He's like, "No, I'm dressing." Because he didn't have the comma after coffee. Mm-hmm. It was just after my coffee and I get dressed. Rather than after my coffee and I get dressed.
Doorknob Bed says punctuation is for noobs. Yes. Chat's great. Well, are you gonna come and hang out for the after party?
Yeah.
Awesome. To hang out with some of our wacky friends and have some fun for a little while. So we're gonna do that, guys. We're gonna get into an after party. I think we've covered everything we needed to cover, unless there was something else that you were just like, "Oh shit, I forgot to mention this." Anything like that?
Well, that'll happen after we end the stream.
Oh
shit, I forgot this. That's
yeah,
what always happens.
Yeah.
Like
when you get up and go look for something, then you sit down and you go, "Oh, that's what it was," right? And then you get up again.
Like I have my therapy appointments over the phone, and at the end, she's always like, "Is there anything else you want to talk about?" I'm like, No, but as soon as I hang up, I'm gonna think of all the things that I want to talk about. So let's just say no.
You can bring it up in the after party, anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. If you guys are interested in joining Aunt Jer and myself, Mikey, as I said earlier at the beginning of the show, has taken the night off. He was up really late last night. As a matter of fact, he had texted me as I pulled into work this morning, and I started at 5 a.m. So he'd been up all night, and he was up further after that because he had to do the bin podcast today too. So he's like, "I'm beat. I'm going to bed." I'm like, "Oh, I got you. No problem. We can handle this without you." And if you want to join, send me a message on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and I'll get you a link, and you can come and hang out with Aunt Jer and myself. And anyways, guys, I want to thank all you guys out there in the chat for hanging out with us today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Don't forget, the links to all Aunt Jer stuff is in the description box below. And also, I keep forgetting to mention this, but there's also links to all the music that I make that you hear in the beginning and the outro of the show. If you dig it, go and check out the rest of it. You might be surprised. It's all professionally done too. Like, we paid a lot of money, so at least you can say, "Hey, it sounds all right." And of course, my amazing patrons. I don't know where all these banners are, but you guys don't need to see the banners because I'm telling you everything right here. You patrons are awesome, and I couldn't do this without you. And thank you, Aunt Jer, for joining me today for today's episode. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And like I always say at the end of the interviews, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.